So a penalty shootout on the way then at the GTEC to settle this Unity Cup final. There's the coin toss. Molly Bell and Moses Simon, the two captains who played the entirety of the contest, going through the formalities to determine at which end the kicks will be taken. And indeed, who will take the first one? Well, both these nations are hoping to go on and qualify for next year's World Cup. They both still have plenty to do in that, but occasions such as this will help with those preparations, perhaps. It has the feeling of a championship, doesn't it? There is silverware at stake, of course, at the end of this. Well, we're still no nearer knowing which of them will be lifting that Unity Cup. But it's an eventuality, I'm sure, that both have prepared for. Steve McLaren was busy issuing the instructions, determining the order in which his players will take the penalties. We saw two really contrasting spot kicks from them in the semi-final. A Panenka from Palmer and a powerful one into the top corner from Richard King, who is still out there and will take one, I'm sure. He did in that Premier League playoff final just 8 days ago, as he finished on the winning side for Cavalier. He stepped up actually and took the first kick in that particular shootout. Passing on the instructions as well to the two goalkeepers, Stanley Wabali and Shekan Davis, who came on to face those penalties in that domestic final. He replaced Tafari Chambers, who played 120 minutes. And it's a change that ultimately proved in vain. Davis will hope for rather greater success tonight. So they're all ready, and it will be Richard King who's going to take the first penalty, just as he did last week in that cup final. Scored from the spot in the semi in stoppage time to win it for Jamaica, to get the better of Trinidad and Tobago. That was his first international goal. He is going to take the opening penalty here up against Stanley Wabali in that Nigerian goal. And he scores emphatically again. It's a really good penalty. No mistake from King. Setting the tone, he will hope. The centre-back is something of a specialist in these sort of situations. Didn't give himself a lot of margin for error with where he put it, but ultimately it was perfect. He scored a penalty or two down the years, hasn't he? Ivan Toney watching on. So first up for Nigeria here will be their substitute Kelechi Iheanacho. Hasn't been on too long. Iheanacho also scores. Went the same way. Again, the goalkeeper went the other way. And it's all square in the shootout. I enjoyed that one. Took his time but kept his composure. Took Davis the wrong way. So Isaac Hayden next up. Sent forward by Steve McLaren to take their second penalty. Isaac Hayden also scores. This time the goalkeeper went the other way, but dived out of the way. And it's 2-1 Jamaica. Smile on the face of Isaac Hayden. He's a relative newcomer to this Reggae Boys team. He certainly enjoyed this competition. In both the games. So Moses Simon, who started the scoring today, Nigeria's most experienced international on the field, is going to step up to take the next one. Must have thought when he put his team in front 10 minutes into the game that it might have been a much more straightforward evening than it's developed into. There was a little bit of pressure on his penalty. And Simon scores. Good penalty so far. the goalkeeper has been able to guess right yet. Slow and steady run up, and also into the corner for 2-2. Ravel Morrison to take. Only recently recalled to the international setup this week at short notice by Steve McLaren. He's the next to take on Wabali. Morrison from the spot also scores into the corner. They remain perfect so far. This time the goalkeeper did go the right way, but he couldn't get to it. Had to be right into the corner. I thought because he'd gone the right way that he might have got to that, but it was excellent from Ravel Morrison. His part is played. Okadare next up. Wonderful season he's had in front of goal in Belgium with Genk. Scored 21 times in their top flight. He's over the next one. And also scores in off the post this time. Well, again, nobody leaving much margin for error, but nobody making an error so far. The stakes just rise that little bit more for every player that steps forward after every successful kick. Dwayne Atkinson. Now he was a title winner with Cavalier in that penalty shootout last week. In for just his fourth cap today, taking their fourth penalty. And he's hit the bar. The first to miss from the spot. Dwayne Atkinson can't convert for Jamaica, and that could be so costly. Too much go across to console him. That will hurt. It didn't miss by much. Off the top of the bar and behind from Atkinson. He was taken off before that penalty shootout last week in the Jamaican Premier League. He couldn't convert, so it's advantage Nigeria. If they can from this one, Onyemaechi does so emphatically, and they're one kick away. Thumped in from the fullback for 4-3 Nigeria on penalties. The next one has to go in to give Jamaica any chance. See how much it means, can't you? Roar of relief as much as anything may be. The captain to assume responsibility for this. Amari Bell has to score, or the Reggae Boys are beaten. Spoke this week about the great honour of being afforded that captain's armband. Can he keep them in contention in the penalty shootout? Amari Bell does score with a measure of composure. A precise penalty, he didn't necessarily opt for the power, but he picked his spot. Forces Nigeria to win it from the spot. The next kick could be the crucial one. If it goes in, Nigeria win the Unity Cup. Bell just applying that little bit of pressure. Played his part, but there is no more now that they can do. Unless this doesn't go in. Christantos Uche, on his international debut, is the one who places down the potentially decisive penalty. Pressure on his shoulders, certainly. Mr. Win it. Uche does score, and Nigeria win the Unity Cup. On debut, he scores from the spot to settle the shootout. And the Super Eagles have done it. They've done it the hard way, but they have the trophy. Still, there's never been any other name on the Unity Cup. 21 years since it was last staged in England's capital. They've kept hold of it. They've needed the penalty shootout to do so. 5 successful kicks from 5. Ultimately, Dwayne Atkinson was the only one who couldn't convert. And Jamaica finally are beaten in a final when they never knew that they were beaten, when they twice came back from behind in the 90 minutes to take this the distance. And it's Nigeria who celebrate, Nigeria who will lift the silverware shortly. Nigeria who kept their nerve from the spot. And they did so brilliantly, really, all 5 of them. Little kiss of the ball. Lengthy run-up. And a fine finish. Some way to mark his international debut. Competition in which he wasn't necessarily expected to feature. He has ultimately had the final decisive say. So many others, though, that have played their part in what went before. The Unity Cup competition that has averaged 4 goals a game right the way through. McLaren's side set up this final by scoring from the spot in stoppage time in the semi to get the better of the All-Caribbean contest with Trinidad and Tobago, and how they have represented their nation, their people, with the performance that they put in this final. There is real pride as the efforts of those players are acknowledged by those in the stands. Pride has been a theme running throughout this Unity Cup, both on and off the pitch. And there's plenty of it on display at the conclusion here. They came so close. They came within a penalty of lifting the trophy against higher-ranked opponents. Against the odds, they kept battling back. 20 places they're ranked below Nigeria in those FIFA rankings. Twice they trailed in the game. But ultimately, just that one penalty between them. Dwayne Atkinson was the unfortunate player in the shootout. Ultimately, of course, it's the positives from the performance that will carry them forward to matches that really matter in terms of qualification. Nigeria have one more friendly to play before they turn their attentions to World Cup qualifying. That will come in Moscow in just 6 days' time, that friendly game against Russia before they resume World Cup qualifying, with work to do against Rwanda on the last day of August. But before then, there is certainly plenty of time to celebrate this. They can enjoy the moment, he can certainly enjoy the moment, and what a moment it was for Uche on debut. Took a bit of nerve as well to do what he did in the circumstances. And he did it with real confidence. I know they've been in a real battle, Eric Shell's side. He was unhappy with how physical it was turning into in that first half, but his side hung in there. And ultimately found a way. Iheanacho there, who started the scoring from the spot. Played his part off the bench in both games. They had to work hard against their great regional rivals, Ghana, as well, in the semi-final. So it is West Africa today that's got the better of the West Indies in both the third place playoff and in this Afro-Caribbean final, but only just. They did have their chances, Nigeria, to win it without the need for penalties. Ultimately, though, it was settled from the spot. And they will be presented shortly with the prize. Great moment, though, for the supporters to share in, as it will be when they see their team lift the trophy shortly as well. But Nigeria have won it on penalties, 5-4 from the spot, after the Unity Cup final had finished all square. Jamaica 2, Nigeria 2, but it's Nigeria's trophy. is what Nigeria are about to get their hands on after the musical interlude that we've just had, adding to the party atmosphere. It will be Nigeria really to celebrate in style shortly, having won on penalties against Jamaica in this final. Both sets of players putting so much into this final, and indeed this competition as a whole, both coming through really tough semi-finals in midweek and serving up another spectacle today in the sunshine in West London. West Africa have just and only just got the better of the West Indies. Needed penalties to do it. Well, this was the final in a one-off game when the Unity Cup was first staged at Loftus Road, not too far from here. In 2002 it was a three-team tournament. 2 years later they both contested it again along with the Republic of Ireland. Nigeria won that one as well. And now 21 years on, they have done so again. But only just. Two managers still in the relative infancy in terms of their tenures. We'll take positives from the performances this week in this competition into some crucial qualifiers to come. Nigeria not back in competitive action until the autumn. Those 4 remaining World Cup qualifiers, they have work to do. They're only 4th in their group after the first 6 fixtures. And only the top team guaranteed to go straight through to next year's World Cup. Runners-up spot will go into a potential playoff. Jamaica harbouring hopes of qualifying in CONCACAF as well before then. They have a Gold Cup to contest this summer, games against Guatemala, Guadeloupe and Panama in the USA. Those group stage matches from the middle of next month onwards. Just short of lifting a trophy today. His side have certainly played their part in the entertainment provided at this competition. They're heading for the tunnel with that part now played, an embrace between the bosses. It was fiercely fought, at times it threatened to boil over a little bit on the pitch, but there's real respect between those two at the end of it. And reasons for optimism for both of them, still early in their tenures in charge. Well, they've learnt a lot about players he perhaps didn't know quite so much about, and the competitive environment that the Unity Cup has provided, just unable in the end to get their hands on the trophy. They will vacate the scene and leave that for Nigeria to really start their celebrations. Although this has been a footballing celebration throughout the course of the week, and certainly on finals day, carnival atmosphere throughout. We've had a food festival, we've had a music concert in between the 2 games, a post-match performance as well. And now the prize will be handed out. We'll wait for those in white to get their hands on it. They were taking the distance today before doing so. So a few more minutes will matter not. But the phone's out making the memories. A number of these players remember featuring for the first time for their nations. Benjamin Frederick of Brentford B made his international debut today, played the full game, having only just been called up to the squad after the semi-final, and certainly impressed. Chrysanthus Uche scored the winning penalty on his debut, having not long since been brought off the bench. It was a back 4 that began with just 3 caps to their name in total, who were twice pegged back in the game by Jamaica, but ultimately got themselves over the line thanks to 5 perfect penalties. And they are affording the chance for these celebrations to be shared in. It's Kelechi Iheanacho for the opening penalty, first of 5 in that shootout. Well, there are some big prizes, of course, to be handed out in world football today. The Unity Cup is about to be awarded for only the 3rd time here in its history, but it's not necessarily the trophy itself, it's what it means, it's everything that's gone into winning it, it's the moments that they've been able to share with their supporters, many of whom, of course, aren't normally able to watch their team in action in person. all of that will matter so much more. And that's the case for all the sides that have been involved in this competition, not just the winners, but for Nigeria, it is a little bit extra special, perhaps. You can see from the reaction of the players that this is more than just a friendly tournament. This is something they will always remember and look back on fondly. Whatever happens in the fledgling careers of many of those involved, and indeed some of the more experienced players will still soak up these moments as well. A nation that have been champions of Africa 3 times previously, who qualified again for the AFCON in Morocco at the end of this year. They've now won 4 of their last 5 internationals. If you factor this one in from the penalty spot as well. Nation who qualified for 6 of the last 8 World Cups, but they missed out agonisingly, of course, to Ghana in 2022, last time around. Missing out for the first time in 16 years. They are desperate to ensure there won't be a repeat next year. That was the reason, really, for the appointment of Eric Schell. Anything else is a bit of a bonus. The former Marl manager, appointed only a week into January on a 2-year contract. He remains unbeaten in charge. His previous job was in Algeria with the club side MC Orane. Lasted only 13 games. He will hope this is the start, though, of a lengthier tenure, a more successful spell. The hopes of a nation. Previous full-time manager, Benini George, a player of real repute.
So it's all done and dusted. It's all over from the 2025 Unity Cup. And there you have the victorious Super Eagles of Nigeria defending the trophy. They've won twice already. Good job done. Congratulations to them. It's been a blend of the old and the young. The fans were there in their numbers to show them love, to show them support. Eric Schell believes that, well, this is the beginning of good things to come for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And these fans would not go without being part of the party. It's been fun. It's been full of excitement. We understand that UB40 is performing tonight, not too far from the venue. And I'm sure that they will all go there to enjoy some good music as well from the old school. But congratulations. Earlier on, we saw Dibanj also performing to the best of his ability. He's almost always a crowd puller, isn't he? And at the end of it all, the Jamaicans, the Nigerians, it's all unity. And clearly, that signifies the essence of the trophy that was being played for. Nigeria winning it the last time around when it was a 3-nation tournament, with Ireland joining them in the fun and the party. But hey, when and where it mattered most, they have done it. Thank you very much for joining us on Max TV. A slip earlier mentioned another station, but we're definitely right here on Max TV, where we're bringing you all the excitement, the fun from the 2025 Unity Cup. And Nanedu, the Nigerians won't sleep tonight, will they?
Yes, I don't think they will sleep.
Lots of fun and excitement in town.
More enjoyment in London. I was just speaking to a friend, John Wesley Dankwa, who is in London, and he was telling me things around G-Tech inside the stadium and outside the stadium.
I can imagine. It's all fun and excitement.
Nigeria and Jamaica, they have a lot of people living in London.
I see.
They have a lot of people connected to a lot of people in London.
Sure.
In terms of business and everything. In London, when we're talking about countries that have a lot of reps in the city of London, they believe Nigeria and Jamaica tops all. When it comes to countries that have a lot of people living in
Well, we saw a lot of them in the stands.
Yes, that is why you can watch from the stands. There are a lot of Jamaican fans and Nigerian fans. After the game, we saw, you know, highly rated musician and award-winning musician, The Bunch. He was once the best musician in Africa, performing his favorite songs and his popular songs when it comes to African music. And he was there to perform live. And he can tell you how these organizers make sure some of these things became colorful.
Yeah.
It's more than a football game. It's more of a festival.
There's a lot more excitement going on.
It's more of a carnival.
Yes.
And I think both Nigeria and Jamaica are true representative of Afro sports and what it means to organize this kind of competition. To be honest, I've enjoyed the kind of things that has gone on at the G-Tech Stadium. I'm sure it connects your country and the people living outside the country. And that is one thing that it brings all these things together to make sure a lot of enjoyment will go on. And
all right, so it's now time for the presentation. Let's go quickly join the feed and go through the process. Officials and organizers lined up, and they will receive the winners. Handshakes here and there.
Bodes well, doesn't it, the nerve that his side showed from the spot to dig deep and find a way to win it. 20 involved, it's been a big effort behind the scenes. Those nations didn't have an awful lot of preparation, at least for the semi-final. Straight into the action after arriving in the country. Squad's bolstered by a number of players based in the UK, but there were many, 10 on each team of the two finalists that were based in the domestic divisions. They will have learnt a lot as well, I'm sure, from this experience, regardless of the outcome. For many of the Super Eagles, just a taste of international action to whet the appetite. There's not always a trophy at the end of it, but they can enjoy today. Makes it that little bit extra special, doesn't it, for those in particular that have made their debut today. The spirit that we've referenced throughout this competition, all too evident in the presentation here. Nothing was handed out to anybody here. They've had to work for it. They've had to really dig deep. And that is their reward. Bigger challenges to come in terms of what is at stake, but this will help. And in this precise moment, that really is academic, because this is about the moment. He scored the winning penalty. Big smile on the face of Crisanto Suche. This is the day that he will never forget. They were here to see it, and here comes the presentation then to the captain, Moses Simon. Has the trophy in his hands. They are still the only team victorious in the Unity Cup. They won the earlier iterations in 2002 and 2004, and now 21 years on, Nigeria lift the Unity Cup again. And Moses Simon determined that everybody will be involved in these celebrations. Has his hands on the silverware. They enjoy the moment. Unity Cup winners 2025. Nigeria needed penalties to see off